Hey everyone, Sky here to discuss From Dusk Till Dawn, starring George Clooney, Quentin Tarantino, Juliette Lewis, Harvey Keitel, and Selma Hayek, written by Quentin Tarantino and directed by Robert Rodriguez. Now, I've only seen this movie once before in my life, but is it as good as what I remembered? Well, let's go. Let's get into this movie. Brothers Seth and Richard Gecko, played by George Clooney and Quentin Tarantino, are robbing a liquor store as Richard gets shot in the hand and Seth burns the damn place down. And I like this opening sequence. It's nice and simple. Any movie that's bad to make it nice needs to make it nice and simple. That's how you connect with the fucking characters. Is it not that simple? Forget it. They go to a motel room with a hostage named Gloria Hill as Richard wants her to sit next to him on the bed watching television as Seth leaves the room to take care of some business and Richard shoots Gloria off screen and he's kind of a dick as he does dick moves and Mr. Tarantino pulls that off very well. Meanwhile, Jacob, Kate, and Scott Fuller, played by Harvey Keitel, Juliette Lewis, and Ernest Liu, are introduced in the diner, and I do like them as characters, particularly Jacob and Kate. But the actor Ernest Liu, who plays Scott, I haven't seen him in anything else since this movie, even though he's worked, but not since 2005. Maybe for the best, because like Mr. Tarantino, I like his character, but he's not a good actor, I must say. Seth and Richard take Jacob, Kate, and Scott to Tijuana, Mexico, as hostages, and while they're on the road, Richard hits on Kate, which did feel kind of disturbing, because I believe he's 10 to 15 years older than she is, and Mr. Tarantino wrote this screenplay, and is giving himself a 10 to 15 year younger girl. And I don't think they have great chemistry. But the other actors have a little thing I like to call charisma. They get through the borderline and get to the titty twister, excuse me very much. And the Radivor is, and this is a great to put our characters at risk at a bar with strippers, beer, and something I'll get into in a second. I like the setting in this movie. It gives me a very good Mexico vibe. I also love Selma Hayek's exotic dance in the middle of the motherfucking bar. It's sexy as hell. And I don't know about today. It's been a while since I've seen her. But in the 1990s to 2000s, she had an attractive body. I don't know about right now. Not in a pervert kind of way. Richard gets stabbed by Danny Trejo and bleeds out to death, and they realize their blood is red, and the vampires, yes, I said it, they're vampires. The vampires' blood is green, and they turn into monsters, and Selma Hayek bites Richard in the neck, and they eat some humans, and there are some survivors, and they fight together, and a lot of this so far is interesting in a fascinating kind of way, because the Tarantino world against vampires is original. But, unlike him, Richard becomes a vampire, and Seth kills him with a stick, effectively heartbreaking of Mr. Tarantino to kill himself in his own script. Two of the survivors are left, so it's down to Seth, Jacob, Kate, and Scott left to fight the vampires. Jacob has two guns, like a cross, and shoots them motherfuckers down. And I like how Jacob comes in with Seth, Kate, and Scott as he's bitten too while he makes his escape. And they make a promise to kill Jacob after he turns into a vampire, which is sad, and they become vampires killers, and they fight to the end of after Jacob becomes a vampire. Scott gets bitten and becomes a vampire, and Kate blows them up. Not Seth. So it's now Seth and Kate left, and they shoot at and to make holes into the building because vampires can't survive sunlight. And Carlos comes in to find Seth and Kate, and Seth gets the money and leaves Kate in Mexico, and credits roll, and the climax here is rather satisfying to me, in my opinion. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 7.5 out of 10. I like the characters despite Ernest Liu and Mr. Tarantino are not very good actors, but I got a Mexico vibe throughout the movie, and I also like the dirty look in this movie. Mr. Tarantino does a good job with the script, and Robert Rodriguez does a good job directing this movie. So we'll be back next week with Jackie Brown, and until next time, and action.